Hey, what's up, everybody? XRP, $3.05. We are looking at this correction here. So I just put a members video out yesterday if you wanted to go check that out. But today we're gonna look at this correction and we're gonna see what's going on. So right here is obviously we have some type of expanded flat. Now the big question is, let's zoom in here. Is it finished? Is it done? Well, there's a couple ways we could look at it. Number one, we have A, B, C, right? But the big thing would be wave C. Is this wave done? Because this is our move down, right? So that's all the wave that's really the only thing we care about is when this thing's over. Well, if we look at the wave structure, we could see 1, 2, there's a couple ways you can count it. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's 5 waves. So we have an A, B, C, we're done. And not only that we're done, but we're done in terms of hitting the extension, plenty of extensions. You can see we went below the 1618, which is not that good. We don't want to do that. And we landed way down here at the 2.2s and the 2.4s here. So that means it's like twice as big as wave A, and that's kind of normal in an expanded flat, but and then it's also normal too because you have this area here. Since we had a big impulse off of this running flat, we broke out and then we had an expanded flat. We came all the way back to retest that $3 area. So the question is it finished? Well, the other way you could count it would be if this is a flat. For example, you have 1, 2, this is 3, and this is A, B, C for a 4, right? And now we have wave 5. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and it looks like 5. Now the fifth could be truncated or it might not be finished. So it could come down like this, right? Be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And break down a little bit further. And then you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A. You come up like this. There's your B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 extended C. And then go up. Right? So that's kind of how I'm thinking about it right now. Obviously, the alternative would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're done. And this is a wave 1. And now we're flagging out for a wave 2. And we should start heading up without taking the low. So if we do take the low, we still should head up because it would just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So either way, I'm expecting it to go up somewhere in this area. Now, the issue we had was Bitcoin wasn't really doing anything. But now we see Bitcoin finally took the range to the downside, right? So it's no longer a triangle, right? So it, to me, looks more like A, and then we have 3 up for a B, and it looks like we have 1, 2, 3. Looks like we're getting 4, and then let's get 5 for a C. So, yeah, so A, B, C, and then start heading back into the retrace levels because we want a 3-wave correction, right? Kind of like these 3-wave moves in here. We want a 3-wave move so we can start heading back up. So if we look at the extension here, and if we do get if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, then that means that XRP count could break the low, right? But if it did, it's not the end of the world. So we have a move. So we're not even at the 1-to-1 yet. So, I mean, that's like minimum, right? So we need to hit at least this here, I would imagine. Somewhere around 114, 113K. And it would most likely be like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So there's your 3 and there's your 5 there. So that's kind of what we want to look for. So going back to XRP, you know, we're getting a little bit of a pump here. If we look smaller time frames, I mean, you really have this 5-wave move here. So so it could be a truncated wave, right? Or we can get one more wave down, something like that, and it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And that would make sense because Bitcoin kind of needs that, right? Or if it's finished, then you could look at it like a zigzag or whatever. Like you have, let's see, like for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, and then you come up, there's your B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down for C. But you really don't want this to break the low. If this is a 1 and this is a 2, you know, to get that 3-wave shape forming. So I think it's going to happen somewhere down in there. So we have to wait and see. But this is dollar cost averaging territory. Now we do have bullish divergence also, and it's getting bigger, right? So it's actually better if we do break the low, because then you're going to have this divergence and you're going to have even more than that. So if we go to the 2-hour chart, this is where it starts disappearing here. I mean, so basically you have the divergence there. It comes up, it takes it out, right? And now we're kind of pulling back in here. So if we break the low, we could still get more divergence in here. So there's no rule on how much divergence you really need, you know, because a lot of times it takes multiple hits. So the other thing as well, if you look at where we pulled back to, we pulled back to sub $3. We pulled back to $2.95. So let me actually put a horizontal line. That way we can look left to see where we went to. So we went to, so obviously we back tested this level, right? We go a little bit further. We back tested this level, and you can see this ascending triangle here. We back tested this level right there. So that $2.95, $3 area is pretty significant. And this level is about $2.91. So I suppose we could hit that level if Bitcoin needed a little bit further to go. But if you go to the daily, and you could see that 2018 all-time high was also back tested. So right there. So we entered into price discovery. We had a weekly close above. We had another candle above. And now we're pulling back to retest the all-time high. I mean, that's all normal. And it's better to do it now than come back way back later on, you know. So, you know, for example, like if this came way up here and you're like at $6-7, well then, and then you have to come back and retest, that would really suck. So I'd probably be over by then, right? So it's better if we just do it now And you can even say that this could be a 1-2-1-2, but it's not really looking like that. To me, it looks more like 1, 2, 3, 4, back test 4, right? And then we go up for 5. So, and then we have a 1, 2, and this is our 3. Our third wave probably will end up somewhere between $4 and $6. And our fifth wave will end up somewhere between that and, maybe 10, hopefully more. So, realistically, ideally, $9 and so, according to the market cap. So yeah, let's look at some other charts then. Let's look at the market cap. So this is we have 181 billion. So we went up to $216 billion. 216 billion. Phew. And we just pulled back to 181 billion. So how many billions is that? It's got to be a lot of billions, right? So that is $41 billion. Think about that for a second. We pulled back $41 billion. So if you look at why that's significant, is because if you go back in time, look where we were over here. We weren't even 40 billion. So basically, we pulled back. Let me zoom out here. And let's put 41 billion right there. So basically, what we just did was this little teeny tiny this little thing right there, that little tiny move, is the equivalent of being at $41 billion and then going to zero. That is insane if you think about it. Just to tell you the sheer scale of how big this is getting. So we pulled back 41 billion. So if we were at 41 billion, that would be like going to zero. That's crazy. So you could see how massive this is getting. Now, if you look at it on log scale or regular scale, it's a lot bigger, right? Actually, it's not too much bigger, but yeah, so like literally almost about $40 billion. That's crazy. So just to put that in perspective, before we even blasted off, right, into this wave right here, we pumped, we flagged. By the way, that was almost a year ago when we pumped in July. Look at that. And then we pulled back for a long time. Look at that. So we pumped in July. We pulled all the way back until November. And then we went up. So hopefully we don't have to do that again, but let's say we did. And since it's the same month, right? Seasonality. And we're just basically taking this wave and putting it there. Now, I'm not saying we're gonna go, well, actually more like 500 billion would make more sense, but something like that. And this should bring us into October, November. But I don't think that's the case. If that is the case, let's make it a little bit more size appropriate based off of this. This would be a 1-2, 1-2, which would be the most bullish setup ever. So you have an expanded flat and then a 1-2, 1-2, right? Which would be totally insane. But we would have to pay for it. The investor always has to pay. Not only for their position, but for the time it takes to fulfill the position. So, if you're an 80-year-old man, Hurry up. I'm not getting any younger, But at the end of the day, we got to really take things seriously here, because it could still be a flat, right? Meaning 3 waves up. So you got 3 waves down, you get 3 waves up. This could still come back down in 3 before going up. And it could be a running WXY flat correction. And that's also right around that area, right? So August and September are really not good for crypto, I don't think. If we go, let's go back to Bitcoin. And if we go, I wish there was like an indicator that had all the Septembers on here. But usually it's not that good for the markets. But if we look at it in a bull cycle, you could see right here, June and August and September, it was kind of bearish in there. So it's not always going to be the case, right? You could see it. I guess it depends. Like this August right here was pretty good. Actually, it was really good right here. So I guess it really depends on the stock market as well, right? And things like that. But Bitcoin is looking very sketchy and very scary and very, you got 7 waves here, and this is like the end. So I don't imagine so much more here. I mean, I'd imagine maybe a little bit more if that fractal, that parabola fractal is true, then we should see a little bit more, hopefully, because the rest of the alts, they don't look like they're going to even get even near their all-time high if Bitcoin's already done, right? So that's why we really need that extra time. So even if we compare it to this cycle, right? And we look at, check this out. So if we take this whole thing and we put it right there, you could see we're already done. We're already over with, right? According to time, according to the previous cycle. So, but I don't like it a lot because the low doesn't match up with the low. So if I do that and I take this and I match it with the low itself, that makes more sense, because that's the retrace. That's really, that's the, you could look at this as the high, and here's the bear market, here's your accumulation, and then there's your run up. So this to me is a better gauge. So where are we? Where are we? Well, if I pulled it down just like this, that's where we're at. And how much time? Now, I'm not saying it's going to go up to 500,000, not even close, but how much time do we have? We have about 80 days. That's plenty of time. That is plenty. That's basically, we got 3 months. So that's plenty of time for XRP for sure. So there's no guarantee. I mean, there's no guarantee we're going to get that amount of time. But if we got a, sort of this pretty big cycle here back when the market cap was a lot smaller, well, that means we could get the same size and maybe even longer, because the market cap's a lot bigger, so it's going to move a lot slower, so it's going to take longer to get to the target, so it's going to take more time. So if we look at it from a wave perspective, it's definitely not as bullish looking as this parabola or this run up. But, if I had to do my best to match it up, obviously you could say like that's the bottom, there's the bottom, here's the pump the pump, the pullback, boom, another boom, boom, boom. Got this little bit of a run up here, right? You pull back again, you know, another run up, pull back again, and then that final run up, the final run up. So I guess, yeah, it makes some sense that we would be close. So there it is from a fractal perspective. Let's look at some other coins. Let's look at THETA here. So THETA is really just, you know, having a standard correction. You can see we have hopefully some support right here. You can see it's pretty important area right there. You have this here, right? You have that there. You have all of this here, and now you're right there. So that should be the spot where we would get some kind of a bounce, you would imagine. You can also put it a little bit further down to match up this and this, right? So maybe a little bit further down. And to be honest, I think it needs to go down a little bit more. Just looking at the structure, I don't really see any three waves. I don't see any, let's zoom in here. Now, I just don't, I mean, is this a three-wave move? I mean, it doesn't look like it. It looks more like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And if we got, and that looks like a triangle. And if that's the case, then we would expect 3 waves up. And if that's the case, then we would expect 5 back down and then go up. So this would look more like this. A, B, and C. Now, it depends where B goes. It could be a flat, but something like that. And then you go up. And when you look at it zoomed out, it doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look too bad at all, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. Now, if this is just a minor pullback or whatever, like a back, you know, you run up, you just pull back and you keep extending, then we're going to want to see evidence as we retrace. But just because we retrace doesn't mean we're going to go for it, because it could turn into a complex correction. So we're either going to go out here or we're going to come out here. But we could have a little bit more down to go. So let's look at some more charts here. On the 1 hour, yeah, it looks like, you know, I don't even really have a wave 1 in here. But like 1, 2, 3, and then A, B, C, D, E triangle, and then 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3 down, that could be 3 up, and then 5 down. So this could be some kind of ABC here, and then continue. So basically, we want to see it finish. We want to see it retrace, and then we'll look at it again. We'll circle back. I mean, same thing with SHIB. It's literally the same thing. Like it's like identical. And SHIB and THETA are totally different. Yet they're trading the same. But one's a meme coin and one isn't. So how does that make sense, right? Because it doesn't matter. It more so matters about how the liquidity flows, right? Instead of THETA going up because people are using THETA and they're actually utilizing it, well, then why does SHIB literally have the same chart? You know, it's just once we get regulation, once we get a utility driven market, that's when we should start to see separation So yeah, same thing with SHIB. You know, you got, it looks a little better because you have a more, it looks more, it has a better shape. A, B, 1, 2, 3, maybe a 4 for a triangle, and then 5. And then go up. But you really don't want to go up. You really don't want to go down any further, because then, you know, if you break this low, I suppose you could, but it would be a fast wick. You know, some kind of a liquidity grab. Yeah, it looks just like a triangle in here. So if we start coming down, I'd look for that. And today is Friday, and we're heading into the weekend, and Sunday is right around the corner, and you know how Sundays are. So yeah, that would make sense. So basically, A, B, 1, 2, 3, fourth triangle, because that's where triangles appear. Triangles appear in fourth waves, so it makes sense. And then you get a 5. Now, if it's done, if this is A, or if this is 3 and this is 3 and this is 3, this is A, B, C, and we're done here, then this could just be building a base, right? So let's look at something else. Monero is just not really looking, I mean, it's okay. You know, you kind of got like 1, 2, 3. So you got a 3-way move there. And you got 1, 2, 3. So 3 down, 3 up, and then maybe 3 back down. So 3 up, 3 down, and then I would say 5 up. XLM would be a good one to look at. So XLM looks completely different than those other charts because it's in the XRP category, but it even looks different than XRP, I think. Here, let me see. Put XRP up. Yeah, look at the difference. It looks completely different. And sometimes you want it to look different because then it gives you a different picture. Now, is this picture good or bad? Well, it's not really looking good right here, but well, let's look at it. So we have A, you could say B, or W, X, and then Y. So you have a 3-way move down. And really the move that we should pay attention to is this move here. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, this comes up for a B, and then you have 1, 2, this 3, 4, and 5 for C, and it's done. And this is a 1, and we're flagging out for a 2, and we're going to go. Or is it 1, 2, 3, and this is like a 4, and then we're going to go down for 5, and then we'll go. I mean, it's got to be, I would imagine, one of those two ideas. So what do you do? How do you play it? Dollar cost average. I mean, that's the way you do it, right? So you're right at the lows here. You know, doesn't look too bad of a spot, but I don't really like it too much. Let me zoom in here. I just feel like there's got to be a little bit more downside, you know, unless this is a 1 and this is an ABC. I mean, I guess so. I just need more evidence. So AVAX, it's going to be this. See, AVAX, SHIB, THETA, it's literally the same thing. If I go to near, it's going to be the same thing. Same thing. If I go to Theta Fuel, it's going to be about the same. So, you know, you got some kind of a correction in here. So let's see how it holds up. ICP, literally the same thing. Triangle. So Ethereum will be the big one. Yeah, Ethereum just looks so extended. Okay, so if the fifth wave ended here, and this is 3 down, W, and this right here is 3 up, well, it looks small, X, and then this is 3 down. Nah, I don't know if that would work. It would make more sense if it was 3 up, 3 down, and then 3 back up. So 3, W, 1, 2, 3, X, 1, 2, 3, Y, go. That looks probably the best. Something like that. Now, if we could break out of here, up here, then that's actually a better thing. That's a good thing. So I would love to see that. So other than that, I mean, you can see it's super corrective, right? I mean, you got 3, you got 3, you got 3. So I would imagine 3 up, you know? XRP versus Bitcoin actually looks good. I like this. So that's a good, this is what I wanted to see, right? You got a nice pump and you got a 3-way pullback. That looks nice. That actually looks nice. So I hope that's the case. But it really doesn't match up too nicely with the actual XRP chart. Let me see. Yeah, it's a little bit more sad. It's a little bit more sad. You know, plus you have this 1, 2 here, 3, 4, 5. So it's kind of a little bit confusing. And then the impulse in XRP versus Bitcoin was a little bit better. So what do we pay attention to? Do we pay attention to that or do we pay attention to this? Because this actually looks pretty, this looks actually decent. Now, I don't think it's ready. I think it would make more sense if it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, anyway, we look at it. We had a beautiful pump in XRP. We should continue to go higher, right? And to celebrate, you know, this pump here, I bought, well, I really got it for for me and my son. I haven't played video games since I was like, I don't know, late teens, early 20s. I'm in my 30s now, and my son's interested in games, so I got him a PS5, and I grew up playing like Nintendo 64, you know, PlayStation 2, and that's kind of my childhood. And then when I got older, it was all about the Xbox 360, and that was the cool thing. And I never looked at PlayStation. And then now I was gonna get a new Xbox, but I went to GameStop and I'm looking at all the games. I'm like, dude, there's so many PS4, 5 games, and there's a big section on the wall. But when I look at Xbox, there's just a little piece of it, you know? And I always liked the Xbox controller, so I'm talking to the guy and I'm like, hey, what do you think, PS5 or Xbox? PS5. I asked the other guy, what do you think, Xbox or PS5? PS5. I asked my brother-in-law, PS5. I asked a friend of mine, PS5. So I'm like, all right, well, if everyone's going on the PS5 train, they basically said that they think Xbox could be phased out because they have like too many consoles, it's too confusing. PS5 has more games. So that was the challenging part. Well, which one do I even get? You know? So I went with the PS5. I think I made a good choice. I mean, obviously you can't go wrong with either one. So, yeah, that was our little our little celebration here for escaping into, I said, once we go into price discovery, we can get a PS5. And you can see last weekly candle, right? We entered price discovery. And now this week we're back testing it, right? So that's another important piece to the puzzle. I should be looking at the weekly. You could see right here that obviously here's our close, all-time high close. We totally smashed it. We closed above, and now this candle came back to retest this breakout to confirm that this candle did the job, right? So this candle did a job, and this candle is making sure that this candle did its job correctly. So yeah, so I I told my son, once that happens, we can get a PS5, and we did. And now we just gotta, man, I put 2 games on there, and half the memory is already gone. So actually, was that, like I said, I was at GameStop. I said, so he's like, you want a shooting game, you want a racing game, you want an adventure game, you kind of want different categories. So I always like Call of Duty, I like racing games. So my son really wanted this game, and we got this one. It's actually really hard. It's not like PS2. I remember MX versus ATV, like playing it on PlayStation 2. It was actually more simple. Now it's like there's so many different little things you can do, which makes it complicated. And I guess it's fun once you figure it out. But then we got some adult games here. So I haven't played them yet, but see, back in the day, you get the game, you put it on the PlayStation 2 or whatever, and you play the game. So I put the thing in, and you have to download the game, which takes like an hour. And I'm like, I don't get it. I thought that's what the disc is for. Oh, no, you got to download it. Well, then if that was the case, I would have just got the digital version. So what's the difference? Because you'd have, first I was like, oh, so there's a disc version and there's a console, or there's a digital version. Oh, okay, I'll take the disc version. That way I can have physical copies of the disc. But then but it's not like you can have 50 discs or 50 games, because your memory's gone. And I'm like, oh, so that's how they get you. So I remember I haven't played games in like 13, 14 years, 15 years. So I'm just not used to that. So I put this game on and this game on, and it's already half gone. And I'm like, whoa. So you got to buy one of those terabyte sticks, right? And then that could probably get you another several games. So definitely that's how I figured, oh, that's how they're making all their money, right? Is with memory. So it's all about data. And it's like, well, how did the old consoles do it, but the new consoles can't? Well, because everything is such there's so much graphics, there's so much, everything's so fast, right? So when you play a game, like when I used to play PlayStation 2 Grand Theft Auto Vice City, it would take maybe a couple minutes to load. So, but when I play this one, and I just it barely got downloaded, and I just went to the main one of the games, and it literally took 5 seconds. So I guess I can see it from that perspective. And since there's so much more data, there's so much more going on. An SD card has more information than a disk drive, right? But it's kind of like, it's kind of like a wah wah wah. You get a whole expensive console, and you put 2 games on, it's already gone, or it's already halfway. So I know Call of Duty has like so much memory, so it's not a normal game. I understand that, but still, and I guess the PS5 came with
the Call of Duty Black Ops 6. So I opened it up and I'm like, where's the game at? I guess they didn't put it in here. Oh, it's digital. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Man, I'm old, I guess. So if there's any games that you think I should check out, drop them in the comment section because I have no idea. I'm more in like the 2010 generation, like 2005 to 2010. That's kind of when I played games up to 2012. So I remember one of the coolest games was NBA Street Ball Volume 2, PS2. That was the game. And then you got the Mario Kart stuff, we went on the Nintendo. And that was one of the options. I was like, I don't know, should I get a Nintendo Switch and do the Mario thing? But then it was like sold out, and then it came back, and I didn't know it. So I don't know. I'll probably hold off on that. I know my wife loves the Nintendo stuff. So, but there's actually a game that comes on the PS5. It's like an Astro game, and there's like some other. There's like a real version of it too. But that was, to me, that was kind of like Mario in a way, where you're jumping and you're getting points and you're kind of doing that what Mario does. So, but yeah, if there's any games out there that are worth checking out, let me know. Especially for like a 4 or 5 year old. So, and even myself. But anyways, that should do it for this video. I mean, I guess that's it. Let's look at the chart, or let's look at the board here, and everything's pretty much flat. Oh, HBAR is up 5%. So I would definitely keep an eye on HBAR. It is American. It is relatively lower market cap. It is much closer to price discovery, right? So that would be your ADA, your algo, your HBAR, and your XLM. So those coins, I think, are going to do well. The only thing I don't like about those coins is, you have 5 waves up. Is this 3 waves? So is this like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A, and then you're going to go up in a B, and then you're going to come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down for C? That would totally suck. And then go up. I mean, that's why I'm saying this is such a dangerous place to be. That's why it's like, oh, hurry up, because the more time we spend, the more scary it can get, and then this could turn into 3. This is 3, and then you could get 3 back down and then go up, and it could be something like that. So maybe not so extravagant like this, right? That would be your worst case scenario. This is your medium case scenario, and your best case scenario is we're impulsing now. So it's like, well, that's no help. How do we know? Well, the smaller time frames is definitely where it's at, right? Because you have point A, you have point B, and now you're right at point C. So it's always triangular, right? So point C is always the hardest point, because you don't know, is it going to keep going or is it going to come down, right? I feel like it's going to keep going, just because of how bullish this is looking like it's resetting. So if we zoom in and let's take a look at that 5%, and it's really nothing. It's really not too much. So you could say A, B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for C. So everything looks like it needs one more low. Or if the low is in, then we want to see 5 waves up, 3 waves back, and then continue. So, when I look at algo, it just looks a little bit sad. So sometimes you get these triangles, you pop below, and then you go like that. So that's what I think. The way I drew it right there, I think that's pretty nice, because a lot of times you get these little, like, for example, let's go to Bitcoin. I'll show you right here. Bitcoin. So back over here, I probably got to zoom out. if we look back in the day, it's kind of like this. You know, you got something like that, you hit the low, bam, and then you just go, right? So, or even like kind of like right here, you know, you got a little thing there, boom, 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 hit the low and then go. So you had that little spike to the downside. So the big question is, how high can Bitcoin go? Because you have people like on CNBC, oh, it could go to 200 to 500K. But I believe it will at some point. The problem though is, look how much you've expended. This is all energy being spended. So how much energy? So there's no doubt that it can get there, but we don't have a lot of energy, right? We're wasting it now. I think it's going to go a lot longer than this, because this, we went straight up with no pullbacks. This, we go up a little bit, pull back, go up a little bit, pull back, go up a little bit, pull back. So that's better because it's resetting momentum, right? And this was what? This was 6 months. Go up, 6 months. Go up, 6 or 7 months. You know, same kind of thing, right? So, you know, kind of like back in the 2017 run up, where you would have a base, move up, base, move up, base, you know, and then you would start that parabolic move. So we really haven't gone parabolic yet. So that's what I mean. Like, you know, every Bitcoin move has been parabolic, right? Super parabolic, super parabolic, super parabolic, super parabolic. Where's the parabolic move? I don't see it. That gives me a lot of hope and a lot of confidence that that the best is yet to come. To quote Mr. Trump, the best is yet to come. So, if this can start like going parabolic, like let's go and see. Let's take a bars pattern from, you know, from like here, and then we'll take one from like maybe like right there. Now the issue is it's on log scale, so it gets a little bit distorted. But let me tell you what, this is a massive move, and you go, that's tiny. But if we look at it like this, I guess it's even more tiny because I took it from there. Okay, that's why. Go back. All right. So if we look at the first example, that's what I would want to see. See how it came up. You know, it resets, but then it came up really, and it angled really high, like it went straight, like it had that big angular move where it's like going straight up. So that's what you want to see, something like that, to end it, right? So that would be like the first example. And then this one, you know, something like that. I don't like this one as much, but, you know, something that gives us that big straight up move. Now you had a little bit of a one right here, but it was mixed in with all of this. So you really want it to stand alone. That's why the previous bull market was so short-lived, because you literally just went straight up and it was done. So it's probably a good thing. It's definitely a good thing that we go up, we chill out. We go up, we chill out. We go up, we chill out, because that allows it to cool off and for us to go even higher. So we could, you know, we've never seen a setup like this before. You know, where we're chilling out for a long time. Just a little bit over here, you know, versus this is straight and this is straight and that is straight. So we're looking for this, right, to come out of this. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So anyways, guys, that'll do it for this video. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. How high can Bitcoin go? Well, really, the best way to do it is just look at a retrace. And if you look at where we are, we're right at the 2, right? I haven't even looked at it in a while. So the 2618, $150,000. That means I lost $150,000 in 2021 when I bet Jimmy Song 1 Bitcoin that Trump would win. And he did win, but it was stolen. And so was my Bitcoin. So it's very sad. Lost 150K. But back then, it was not 150K. It was like maybe like 15K or so. Yeah, so we did the bet like right there. And he didn't win because he was hedging his bet. Because he had bet someone else that Trump would win. So he bet me to hedge his bet because he wasn't sure. So I thought that Trump would, I thought it would play out that way, but now in hindsight, we understand why it didn't, because it had to be that way. So, yeah, 153K, you know, definitely no higher than 240 if it really wanted to go insane. I just don't really see that unless we have super low rates and a lot of QE and a lot of money printing, but then, you know, you're going to have other issues. So, but anyways, other than that, you know, I will catch you guys on the next one. Remember, not financial advice. I could be totally dead wrong. Always know that. And until then, cheers.